My name is Sanam Arora, and I'm here on behalf of the National Indian Students' Union. Deepa, your film Midnight Children premiered last night, and it had its European premiere. So
that's right, it did.
It was
yeah,
very warmly received. Tell me about what the experience was like for the film itself.
Yes, it's sort of nerve-wracking. You think that each time, you have a screening, that it's going to get easier for the next screening, but it's not. That's a myth. Let me destroy it once and for all. Every screening is nerve-wracking for the filmmaker. I'm positive. For me, it is, and every city is different. Every country is different. You have no clue. And even though the film has been screened in Toronto, in LA, in New York, and a few screenings in India as well, that I didn't have any idea what would happen in London yesterday, and it was just wonderful. I think the warmth with which it was received, just the way that people seem to embrace it, it was just, it was phenomenal. It was great.
It's a brilliant film, and it's obviously to do with the partition of India and, an experience in that way, aside from its magical realism side. But I know your father moved from Lahore to Delhi as well during the partition. So did you draw in on that experience, and how did that transition sort of help you with this film?
It's I think that any experiences that you've had in your life, like they say about actors, is that if you want to become another character, if there's some resonance in your life that you've had where the emotions are similar to the one that you have to portray, it'll help you. It becomes, let's say, a stepping stone towards getting to know your character better. And I think that's similarly true for a filmmaker. I haven't lived through the partition, but my father did, and my mother did, and my father moved from Lahore to Amritsar. The stories he told, the stories my grandmother told me, all became a part of what's called sort of the Mehta myth. We sort of carried this baggage with us all the while. And when it came to Midnight's Children, or even before that, when it came to the film Earth that I did, which is based on Bapsi Sadhwazai's Candyman, the partition, I could draw on a wealth, not of identical experience, but of a feeling. The feeling of loss, the feeling of confusion, the feeling of not belonging. So those are the tools that I did use in Midnight's Children from my father's stories.
So it certainly helps in a transition.
I think yes, it especially feelings. I mean, not particular, incidents, but more a feeling. Yeah.
Deepa, your work is neither Bollywood nor typical Hollywood. Where do you think your work fits in? It's sort of an independent realm of its own. So how would you describe your work?
I think I would describe my work the way I would describe myself. I mean, I'm neither, now I think I belong as much to India as I do to Canada.
Sure.
And I think that this is what happens with a whole generation of the diaspora, whether it's in England or whether it's in the United States, whether it's in Australia or anywhere in the world, that we carry our stories with us and we try to make them feel that they're part of our new homeland. I mean, in a way, that's what Midnight's Children is also about. It's about new homelands after partition. It's about finding a family, and that sometimes families aren't defined by bloodlines, but we make our own families. So it's I think my cinema is like that. It's almost straddling two worlds. I'm influenced by both. I mean, I think my stories are really inspired by India. And I think actually Canada gives me the freedom to tell those stories. So both are essential.
So it's a bit of a cultural hybrid.
I think so, yes.
Deepa, this hybrid, so when you went over to Canada from your upbringing in Delhi, you were born and brought up in Delhi, and do you feel that the freedom, the developedness of Canada has given you the ability to look at India from a very objective lens and therefore reflect this in your work?
I don't think that it's. I've never ever felt that the West was actually more, in any sense, liberated, or I felt that it was West is synonymous with greater freedom or anything. But definitely, I feel that having that distance from India gives me. I do look at India with a different lens. I don't know if the lens is the lens of the diaspora. I don't know if it's the lens of having grown old, an experience, but certainly having the experiences I've had in India recently, some of which have been very pleasant and some not so pleasant. And then you realize as you grow older that that's all, it's all grist for the mill, and how you're going to deal with it.
And Deepa, how was working with Salman like on this particular film, and has it impacted your life, your daily life, or your thought process in any way?
Nothing impacts my daily life except my daughter. Really, and I'm serious. I mean, family. But it's working with Salman has had a profound effect on me. I mean, I've learned a lot from him. Sure. I wish I'd learned how to write like him. Now that would be something. But it's just being around him has been a really wonderful experience, in the sense that, I mean, this man has gone through so much. Besides, let's put his talent on side. It's a given. He's brilliant. But you think that, with the fatwa and what he personally had to go through, and yet he maintains such dignity and deals with it with such a sense of humor. And people talk about getting a new lease on life, but there's always some bitterness. There's nothing like that with him. So, being around somebody like that, I mean, when I complain, I feel really self-indulgent because, what do I know? And he's just got such a lovely sense of humor, and is a man who has immense dignity.
You, of course, have had your own dose of that.
I really have.
In India. So, what has the role of the Indian Censor Board been like when it comes to your work?
It's been, the Censor Board in India has been interesting with me. The film that I did, first film that got distributed in India was a film called Fire. And everybody said that it will never go through the Indian Censor Board. And it went through the Indian Censor Board without one cut. So, I mean, that was amazing, So I think the Censor Board really surprises one. It depends on who is running it, who the body is, and whether they will take up a non-political stand. So it changes from each group to the other. So it's all up for grabs.
Deepa, thank you very much for your time today. Just one last thing. Is there a message you'd like to give students who love your work because they're part of the diaspora themselves, and also because they're very forward-looking and they're not bounded by any sort of traditions, or they want to break free from whatever cultural restrictions they've had? So a particular message for them?
I guess, I mean, and maybe I'll talk directly to the camera for them, because Southeast Asian young people really interest me. I mean, whenever I can, I do talk with them, because I think that you're going to make the world today and tomorrow, and it's really important not to be bigoted. It's not only about color, it's also about religion. And if you think freedom is monetary freedom, you're wrong. It's really important that we are free from all constraints and all kinds of bigotry. I think that's very important for growth.
Thank you very much, Deepa.
You are welcome. Thank you. Thank you.